since, well, in the league, since New Year's Day. It's been a long time coming, but it's happened. First away win since January in all competitions, January the 5th to be exact. And I've got the new kit on. And it is brilliant stuff. Lewis Potter and then Josh McGuinness. Yes! So pleased. We needed that. We needed that. After a poor performance against Sunderland and a very, very unlucky game against Leicester, against their under-21s, under-23s, whatever you want to call them. Genuinely, that is all we needed. A dominant performance to cement our assertiveness in this league this year. That's what we need. That's what we need. So, let's run through the game quickly then. Very, very good team. I was criticising McGuinness or whatever before the game, but yeah. He scored. He proved me wrong. That shut me up for another week. So Matt Ingram started in goal. It was Josh Emmanuel at right back, Brandon Fleming at left back. The two centre backs were Jordi Device and Reece Burke. Richie Smallwood, George Honeyman and Greg Doherty were the three central midfielders. And Malik Wilkes started on the left, actually. Lewis Potter was on the right. And Josh McGuinness led the line. The bench was Harvey Cartwright, Dan Batty, James Scott, Martin Samuelson, Alfie Jones, Sean McLaughlin and Callum Jones. Got himself a place on the bench. As for Gillingham then, their team, I can't find it, there we go, their team, Jack Bonham in goal, they are, I think, it was a back four of Connor Ogleave, Zek Medley, Robbie McKenzie and Christian Magama. It might be Magoma, I don't know. Central midfield of Dempsey, O'Keefe and Jacob Mellis. Then Akinde, Graham and Trey Coyle made up their front three. The bench was Walsh, Tucker, Willock, Alex McDonald, Valdane Oliver, Scott Robertson and Henry Woods. So, yeah, relatively pleased with the outcome of this one. And if I'm honest, from the first whistle we looked on it. Recently we've been poor from the first whistle. It's taken us about 5-10 minutes to get warmed up. But now things are changing. Richie Smallwood led the boys out. We got underway. 3 minutes later, Lewis Potter banged it in. Well, he didn't bang it in, he deflected it in. Let's be real. Lewis Potter, long ball, did really well to bring it down. Then it just went back slightly. Josh Emmanuel played it up. Smallwood brought it down, gave it to Honeyman. Honeyman shot from the right-hand side of the penalty area and it deflected off Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter intentionally got something on it. It diverted the goalkeeper. He was a bit dumbfounded and we got the lead. We got the lead. Yeah, then see Gillingham. They were just playing one long ball right up the middle. In the first half, we dealt with it quite well. The second half, we had to weather that storm a little bit. We were struggling to defend from it, but eventually we'd weathered that storm, and it happened in the second half. Back to the first half though. 20th minute, Honeyman had a fantastic little chance. Josh Emmanuel was fantastic, can I add? Josh Emmanuel, he's really threatening Louis Coyle, because everyone came in and thought Louis Coyle will come in and be first choice. You don't know, because Emmanuel played fantastically against Sunderland and played really well today against Gillingham. Brandon Fleming the same. Callum Elder's going to have a job to get back in that team, because I think Elder might miss Leeds in the week, and he might miss Crewe as well, depending on how he develops in training. And same with George Long. George Long is going to struggle to displace Matt Ingram. 2 clean sheets. Been absolutely fantastic in both the games that he's played in. He'll come back onto the bench, definitely with George Long. He'll displace Harvey Cartwright on that bench. But you don't know whether he's going to get Ingram. Because George Long, yes, he had some fantastic games last season. Statistically, he has the worst goals conceded record in Championship history. 5 against Brentford, 5 against Stoke, 4 against Leeds, 3 against Blackburn, 4 against Swansea. He's not got a very... As much as we thought, yes, against Chelsea he was fantastic. There's games in that season where he was brilliant. He kept the score down, if anything. He does statistically have, and for the time being holds, the record for the worst goalkeeper probably, well, statistically ever in terms of goals conceded in the Championship. And Matt Ingram wants to see a bit more of him, because when he's played, looked pretty decent. Played against Rotherham as well in the FA Cup last year. Played pretty decent. When I saw him in pre-season last year against Amiens, he looked decent. So, Ingram, might he be staking a claim for the #1 spot? You don't know. But yeah, Josh Emmanuel, another great ball in. Honeyman gets the ball headed down to him by Lewis Potter, but just can't finish. Didn't really trouble the keeper. It was straight at him. We were, by this point, 27th, 30th minute, this game had got very, very scrappy. Both teams were guilty of fouling the other team. The game had absolutely no flow to it whatsoever, because the ref was constantly blowing the whistle saying, no, you've fouled him, there's a booking, there's a talking to. It's one of those ones where you struggle to get a flow to it, because both teams are just, playing exactly how they need to play. Very scrappy. City doing exactly what they need to do to defend the 1-0 lead, and Gillingham needing to stop us from scoring, because when we go forward, we look menacing. Every time we went forward, we looked as though we could score. So it's one of those ones where Gillingham just needed to bring us down, and to defend our lead, we needed to bring them down as well. So by the time we got to half-time, after we scored, we'd taken control. Gillingham had... possession-wise, it was an even encounter, but they'd had like 2 shots or something. We'd had about 7, 8, 9. So, we were really going for it at this point. We started the second half on the ball, going for it. Then it, became a bit more about just sitting and conserving for a little bit. Wilkes had a go. Couldn't really apply finishing touch in the 48th minute. Straight from kick-off, I was thinking then, if we can do what we did in that first half, smashing. But yeah, got to like the 55th, 60th minute, we had to sit back, defend, because as I said earlier, they were playing that one long ball right up the top, and we just had to sit. Ingram was being quite busy. Gillingham having a couple of corners, whipping crosses in, having more free kicks. The game was still fairly scrappy, no flow to it. Ingram, he commanded and controlled his penalty area so well. Ingram did an absolutely fantastic job at that. Which Ingram, good on him, done exactly what he needs to do. And we tried to counter. Ingram would either catch the ball and just take the time with it, allow people to get up, or he'd just go for a quick counter where there was only like Keane Lewis Potter or Malik Wilkes up, and then Doherty, whichever one of KLP or Wilkes isn't up, maybe McGuinness would join up. McGuinness, as well, did fantastically in terms of defending in the first half. He was doing a lot of defensive work. He was getting up and down a hell of a lot. And me and my dad were saying this morning, once we were just in Hull City Centre buying the kit, McGuinness this year, while Eves is out injured, while Scott is potentially out the team or whatever, because Lewis Potter's playing well and Wilkes is playing pretty decently as well, McGuinness needs to take a chance. McGuinness, because McCann trusts him. Before this game I was thinking, don't know why, McGuinness not historically got a good record in this division. Eves has. But McGuinness, it was brilliant today. It was fantastic today. Then City had a ball cleared off the line. McGuinness's header. This is 64th minute. We're starting to come into the game a little bit more now. We've weathered the storm defensively for the long ball. We're starting to move this game back towards our favour in terms of who's been the better team. Emmanuel whipped it in. McGuinness, it's a very nice looping header. It's looping, it's dipping. Honeyman's there just to clear up the pieces, and it's headed off the line by what I believe was Zach Medley. Yeah. So, yeah, we're getting better at this point. Doherty was getting up and down the left channel really well because Gillingham was still coming forward. We controlled it, chilled it out a little bit. Played it through down this left-hand side from Fleming or Smallwood through to Doherty. Greg running right down the line. Fantastic stuff. He was always doing that down the right-hand side. Whipped it in. Malik Wilkes, he should have teed up McGuinness, really. So, let's say... Well, Wilkes is here with his back to goal. McGuinness here. Wilkes tries flicking it over his head and trying stuff like that, when instead he could have just, passed the ball to McGuinness on the deck, who could have just teed it up and gone for a little smash. I've just kicked the ball against my printer. Luckily, I had no power on it. Or, if Wilkes could have gone for the header, Doherty whipped it in and Wilkes just headed it towards goal. It's, just Wilkes decided to try and take it on the floor and take it himself. But, yeah. Get back in your place. That football's just going to roll out again, innit? Yeah, so Doherty was being fantastic. Then came the second. We'd just kept hold of the ball for a little bit, just played the game a little bit slower. Then the second goal came in the 82nd minute from a free kick from Honeyman, who just whipped it in. McGuinness rose higher than anyone else. Magoma and Medley, the Gillingham centre-backs, could get nowhere near it. McGuinness, beautiful header. And then as soon as that happened, we made the subs. We made 2 subs. Honeyman, the assister, and McGuinness, the scorer. Both came off for Batty and Scott. Then a couple of minutes later, Callum Jones came on for Greg Doherty. Callum Jones making his league debut. And that would finish it. We'd actually had an incident where we'd countered. Wilkes, the keeper, came out to try and get the ball. Wilkes rounded the keeper. He had a defender to beat the defender, and then he could have just taken it himself, but decided to square it for Lewis Potter, whose shot was just blocked, and then Emmanuel tried to whip it in and whatever. But in injury time, City were trying for a third goal, because goal difference could be key at the end of this year, because there's some brilliant teams in this division. Peterborough, Charlton, Sunderland, those sorts of teams that will score goals and have the players to capitalise on things like that. We need to do the same. So, yeah. We finished it off well. And a little unsung hero for this game, Richie Smallwood. Didn't misplace a pass until like the 94th minute, where he just passed it straight out of play instead of giving it to Fleming. There we go. So Lewis Potter bags his second in as many games. McGuinness opens his account on his first appearance this season. Yeah, Smallwood was fantastic. No one really had a bad game. And, yeah, fantastic. Fantastic stuff. And, you know, we just lost Leo Da Silva. Smallwood proved that he can just marshal that midfield fantastically. And we were fantastic. We were fantastic. And did exactly what we needed to do. Fantastic stuff from us. And I'm hoping that we can kick on from this in the week. Because, well, next weekend, against Crewe. Because Leeds, in the Carabao Cup, that will be a just morale. The morale will slump. I'm expecting to get beat. Depending on how much buy and how well we play it in that game, could depend on whether we have the morale and the strength in the squad mentally to beat Crewe, beat Northampton, beat Plymouth, go on and play Fleetwood and Blackpool and wherever. I think we've got Blackpool after Fleetwood. I don't know. It might be Rochdale. I think it's Rochdale. Fleetwood, Rochdale, whoever. We just need to keep the scoreline down against Leeds and do ourselves proud. Stick the youngsters out again. They'll love that. They're playing a Premier League club at Ellen Road, Premier League Stadium. Yes, it's a dump, but it's still a Premier League Stadium. I'm only kidding. But although when I did go there, it was a dump, so I'm not kidding. Just need to keep it down against Leeds and then go again, propel ourselves forward for the game against Crewe. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you later. Up the Tigers! Come on, you all!